Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your second DC Stargirl Season 3 episode review. Apologies that I missed last week's review on time. I was away on vacation, like I said, the premiere of, but then while I was there, I literally had no free time to even watch Stargirl at all, let alone record it. And what was funny was that the place I was staying at, it literally had the nicest backdrop that would have made for an awesome temporary setup. The audio quality would have been crap, but it would have been fun. But no, I decided, you know what, better I just wait till I come back to the set and just resume it from there. So again, I apologize. We'll be back to normal this week going forward for the rest of the season. But however, for this week's episode, I very much enjoyed this episode a lot. I think this was the best one of season 3 so far, and there's only 2, so it's kind of like an unfair comparison. It's a slower pace for the story. I think it was necessary. It's your traditional season-long mystery where, like, yeah, we have the main mystery right in front of us, but we're gonna do some like character stuff and some side stuff to kind of keep things going, so we don't really get to it. It still is important to trying to figure out what happened to the gambler and who really killed him and like what's really going on and everything. There's still more questions than answers, and honestly, like the way they're going, I think they could definitely fill in the whole season. Which again, I don't know if it's 13 or 10. I'm not really sure. I know recently it's been 10. I think it's 13 again. I could be wrong. I'll try and do my research on that next week for the next episode review. But anyway, so continuing onwards, we pick things up. Actually, yeah, I think honestly, I just really enjoyed this episode. I think Starman, Joe McHale delivered a really great performance. It definitely kind of like give a little bit of clarification to how his mental status is coming back post resurrection. Courtney really beginning to come into her own and trying to become a much better Stargirl, and just now doing the whole mystery stuff and just how things are being balanced between our team of heroes and then the anti-heroes and then the villains trying to be good. It's like literally no one's trying to claim they're the bad guy here, and it's kind of amusing a little bit that we're just like, it's a guessing game at this point. It could be anyone. Anyone could kill the gambler. Even Starman said in this episode himself, like literally everyone who's ever associated themselves with the gambler probably has a motive to kill him. Which honestly, I can agree. But anyway, let's go for the butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Stargirl. So we begin 12 hours prior to where the last episode left off, when the gambler arrived to Blue Valley. Ironically, his first day in Blue Valley was his last. He arrives at his motorhome. It's pretty swanky, pretty stylish. He's unpacking his stuff with his laptop, the gun that was involved in his murder that we would see later on, a picture of his supposed daughter, and just, his other knickknacks. It's kind of ironic he comes all the way to Blue Valley for this, and he only brings like a very small suitcase full of stuff. So, you know what? I'm not gonna even get into that. He starts searching. Meanwhile, outside, Sportsmaster, Mr. Croc is outside, and yeah, he's very much eager to kind of kill him, get his revenge on him for all the damage he's done to him and his family over the many years and the many decades. However, he knows that he himself is trying to kind of be a better person so that he doesn't end up back in prison. So he's not separated from his daughter. So he makes the better move to kind of back off and not do anything violent against him. But this is kind of like where the intersect of last episode where the gambler goes outside to notice something. This is kind of like in that connection spear. So we fill in the gap there, but there's another individual watching him from a distance. That turns out to be the Shade, but we don't figure out what their meeting's about. Then that's when the title sequence begins, and so we cut back to present day, where we're back at the auto shop, and Courtney's kind of filling in Sylvester about what happened that night at the trailer home, and everyone's kind of already like, it's Cindy killed her, case closed, we need to lock her up, get her away. And Courtney's like, well, hold on, we still got some evidence here that we gotta like really clarify. And honestly, Breck Bassinger, she really sells on this performance with Courtney. Like, she's trying her best not to just immediately jump the gun. She's trying to give Cindy the benefit of the doubt, but it's really hard because like all the evidence is kind of points to like she had a gun in her hand. And even her thing is like, I accidentally pulled it. And it's like, well, it's still not helping yourself in the long run. And also, yeah, Beth does confirm that like it wasn't a gunshot that killed the gambler. It was something else that they're still trying to identify at the moment. Plus the amount of damage that the trader home withheld it was well beyond Cindy's power level, and Sylvester obviously thought, oh, it could be Grundy, but then damn, like my brain is like I'm still on vacation brain month, so I'm trying to remember all the names here. I want to say it's Rick. I don't think it's Rick, but our man, I think it's Rick. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Rick. He tells them like, no, it can't be it because Grundy's still dead. So, and even are you sure about that? Like, trust me, bro. I tried the remaining parts of summer trying to bring this motherfucker back. It ain't working. He's still dead. Pat's also on the optimistic side that he wants to wait until like, they find the laptop, which is the only important piece of the gambler's possessions that was missing from the wreckage. And, so like once they find the laptop, they'll find the killer. And, so they're just going to wait on that, even though everyone's still on team anti Cindy. It also doesn't help that we cut back to the former ISA lounge and we find Cindy kind of experimenting on herself still. So she's really not making a case for her defense. She really isn't. But regardless of that, we cut to that night back at the Dugan house. Courtney found, I forgot during the when they found the body, they found the gambler holding a letter that was meant for his daughter. Hattie had found her that was only meant for her, but Courtney, being the nosy body that she is, she couldn't hesitate and she opens it up and, just reading the letter through and through, it kind of convinces her that, yeah, the gambler was trying to change. He was trying to be a better person so that he could be a decent enough dad for his daughter not to be embarrassed about. And when we come to the next morning, even Pat is being like, okay, yeah, it's still, but until we know the whole story, we really can't say anything about, just anything yet. Cause just because a piece of paper tells you something doesn't mean anything really until like, you really get all the facts and all the details squared out. So, that's a fair point in there. We head back to the school, the JSA having another mini team meeting, and they're still on, most of them still on anti-Cindy, and Cindy actually shows up and gets mad because like, well, you had an official team meeting last night with the grown-ups, and now you're having another team meeting all without me, and Courtney's trying her best to like try to keep the peace here, or the very fragile peace they have, and literally Yolanda's like not giving a damn, is like literally accusing her at every single moment. And not to be mean, so far this season, like we've only seen Yolanda just like accusing Cindy, which I'm like, I get it, I know the history, we get it already, but the thing is that we're only in the second episode and we haven't even gotten an ounce of like what actual storyline Yolanda's going through. Everyone else has kind of like gotten their stuff figured out, more to say, except Yolanda, which I really hope we don't go into next week's episode once again just having her repeat the same, it's Cindy, like I'm gonna get a little sick of it. I really am. But so they have this fragile piece, and literally like I love the scene, the moment when Cindy sits down at the table and Yolanda's just like giving her like I'm trying my best. I'm doing this for Courtney, but if it wasn't for her, like you'd be dead already. Like that's just the cold hard facts. The Shade's back at the diner. He's enjoying his 45th cup of tea, in which finally they have perfected. Which honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I was gonna anticipate this was gonna be the running gag throughout the entire season. That season 3 ends with the Shade finally getting a perfect cup of tea, but no, he gets it now, and he's pretty happy. His happiness is then suspended because Sylvester and Pat show up to interrogate him to try to figure out where he was, trying to figure out if he had any motivations to kill the gambler. And the Shade's like just point by, listen, I didn't kill anyone, man. Like he was here. I talked to him at the diner. That's about it. End of story. And also it's still a little bit, I think I mentioned this last week that like I knew Sylvester was going to go back to like some of the Starman personality traits that he had, mostly to Pat, that he just considers Pat a sidekick, and it literally just picks up here where like he's like halfway into the diner seat, doesn't really care about Pat for a second, just focus on the mission, and Pat kind of had to scoot him over a little bit to give himself some space, and they were trying this good cop bad cop routine, and Sylvester snaps for a bit. He has the Shade closed in at close eye distance. Pat has to defuse the situation, and they both leave the diner. Sylvester blows up at Pat at first, claiming that Pat like is interfering, like he's the psychic here, he cannot like really be doing this. And Pat finally gets some balls and tells like, look, we're not doing this again for the 3rd time in a row. Like we're not, like, okay, you're back, that's great, but this is different now. Like I've been dealing with this shit for the last couple of years or couple seasons. It's not been a year, but you know what I mean. It's like this is my town. I know how Blue Valley works. You're the outcast here, so if anything, you kind of have to follow my lead on it. And it was honestly really, I was actually really proud of Pat that he actually got to stand up for himself and like label him as like, we're equal partners here. There is no more sidekick, you know, main hero mentality. We're all a team here. And it kind of took Sylvester a little bit of time to like really think about it. It's like, okay, yeah, like he is overstepping here because like they've had a whole two battles to go for without him. So like, yeah, he's kind of overstaying, and he understands like, I apologize, I'm gonna go away and like kind of, you know, diffuse a little bit. And his way of diffusing is going to Courtney's school and telling her it's time to begin her training. So he pulls Courtney out of school. They head over to the water tower so they can see where Courtney's status is. And Courtney shows him some of the basic moves, and it was actually a pretty good CG scene, to be honest with you. And then Sylvester shows her his moves, and honestly, yeah, it's leap and bound. Like the veteran has so much more of the cooler moves, and it was actually a pretty awesome scene. And you know, even Sylvester shows up this kind of like shooting star mode where he'd like, I was like thinking in my head like, wouldn't it be cool like they transfer the power of the staff into the human being, and he does, and I'm like, that's so fucking cool. And he shoots himself up like a shooting star, and it's like it's like an ultimate move, like it's probably a finisher. And Courtney just is blown away by it, and she wants to try it out. And at first she doesn't really do it. It doesn't go well. She's kind of thinking negative thoughts for a little bit because the whole point of this shooting star is like to be infused with positive energy, to be overloaded with it. And she does so and fail, but then she channels everything from the last 2 seasons into her mind, which honestly, this would have been a cooler moment had they saved it for the finale. Or me at least get a little bit of a tease here, but then get the full moment at the end where she really needs it. Don't get me wrong, the impact, like the music and the score and the pacing in that montage, it worked pretty well. It's just, it felt more like this should have been saved for the finale. But so she pulls it off. Sylvester gets easily impressed, but the focus has changed. They're going after Shade now, and Sylvester, initially Courtney's under the guise of like, you know, this is just a simple interrogation, nothing too violent, but then, you know, they really get into it on everything. Even the Shade kind of throws a jab at Sylvester that, you know, since Sylvester was dead, that, you know, at all the funerals for the other heroes, there was plenty of people coming over there, but at Starman's funeral, it was only Pat. Like no one else attended for him. And he basically said that you should have just stayed on the ground, give the staff full time to Courtney, and that's it, get out. Sylvester gets pissed. He summons the staff. He blasts the Shade with a pretty strong blast. He's about to really attack him, but Courtney takes back the staff from him and to calm him down. The Shade, thankfully, you know, is alive, but he's a little bit like, you know, wounded physically and also mentally wounded. Like, you know, that, you know, he still considers Courtney the good hero. But right now, in terms of Starman, he's like, you know, like, I need to get away from him. Like, I thought I was going to stay in Blue Valley for a while, but it turns out I am not welcome here. So he dissipates, he leaves. Leaving Courtney a little bit miffed at Sylvester, to be honest with you. Meanwhile, as a fun little side plot, I forgot to mention this, Barbara is, like, honestly, this is like the most we got in Barbara's workplace relations since season 1. Having a little dynamic going, have a little bit of like a quarrel going. But when she enters her office, she finds Mrs. Croc, Artemis. Is it Artemis? I forgot her name, but Tigress? Yeah, Tigress. In her office, and she's like, you know, expressing to her, like, you know, like right now she's kind of like, Barbara's literally the only person who could really understand Artemis with the whole like superhero connection and everything. And she's trying to like, you know, fit in so well. She's trying so hard, and it's like, she's just not getting happy. And even right now, she's like being forced to bake a German chocolate cake. And she kind of just kills Barbara like, please, I need your help. I need... And it's honestly pretty amusing to kind of see this dynamic going here. It's like, for me, like, this is kind of cringe, you know, trying to see this woman trying to be have like basically a mother friend. It's really funny and it's really hard, but you know, Barbara's like, you know what, I gotta do this. You know, I gotta do my part to keep the peace going. I gotta do my part, and guess what? They can't bake for shit. And honestly, this is the point. I would say go check out my baking series only on Instagram, Baking with Joe. So go check that out. YouTube if you want some tips on how to make chocolate cake. But anyway, where do we go from there? Yeah, I want to say. I'm just gonna get the minor scenes out of the way. There's a scene with the young JSA, or at least the team that Pat's son, I already forgot, Mikey is making with the new Thunderbolt, the kid with the pen now. They're trying to figure out who killed the gambler, and I want to say that they do once again the very specific wishing, and I think they don't get the answer of it in this episode, but I guess the Thunderbolt just kind of he can have his moments. Also to know, yeah, even though that the hourglass for Rick seems to be repaired, it's not 100% fully operational, since there would be moments where he would activate it, but the time variance wouldn't be a full hour. It would be more like, a few minutes, or like, not a full hour. So he's trying to figure out, tinker it, trying to figure out what exactly is wrong. The Shade shows up telling them both that, yeah, I'm heading out of here for a while. I'll be back. So he has to attend other things, which I'm like, okay, it's probably just budgetary things. Like, they don't have enough story for me this season. I'm a piece out. I'll probably come back by the end of it. So, bye, Shade. We'll see you later. I want to say, yeah, so Courtney and Sylvester head back to the house. Sylvester's apologizing that, like, the whole reason he really attacked Shade was because of his insecurities about, like, the whole murdering the innocent guy from last season to defeat Eclipso. And even though they did that, it didn't really solve the problem 100%, because Eclipso still came back at the end, which honestly, it does make sense. And he's kind of feeling guilt, like, it was that trauma that really separated the JSA, that fractured them, that by the time the ISA attacked them, they weren't at their strongest, and they lost, and they all died because of that decision. And Sylvester holds himself responsible now, because he's the only real surviving member left. And, why is he alive and not the others? And it's poignant, to say the least. And, it just seems like he's just ready to, like, kind of give up everything and kind of let the new generation kind of take over from there, and, like, not let his problems kind of get to them. I want to say, yeah, so we head back downstairs. Sylvester's talking to the staff a little bit. He and Courtney have a little bit of a talk about things, and, it seems like, there's still some more wiggle room to go, but Courtney does recommend that he still stick around and, like, trying to treat Blue Valley as, like, his opportunity for a second chance. Because, like, a lot of people have had a second chance here, and it seems like if any place would be the place for Sylvester to kind of really rediscover himself and really find a new focus in life, this would be the place, which he agrees. I also forgot to mention that there was we forgot about Cameron, Frost's, was it Frost? Yeah, Frost's son, who's still gaining his powers. It's now starting to affect his. Also, yeah, I forgot to charge my camera before the review started, so I apologize. So wait, is it dead? That was weird. That was really, really weird. But anyway, so what do we pick up from there? I want to say, yeah, so he's developing his powers, but it's starting to affect his art, and his grandparents are like, don't fuck the art. You got these superpowers. We're gonna train you. You can be the next Frost. You're gonna be a future villain. We gotta get you ready for that. Cindy also is revealed to have the laptop in the first place, which means that, Cindy, you can't really get mad at them when they yeah, now the camera's off. You really can't get mad at them when they accuse you of these certain things. I don't know what's up with the camera. We're wrapping up here in a bit, so. Where was I going to go with that? Yeah, so Sydney has the laptop, and the Crocs are busy training at the gym, and even both of them are realizing that, yeah, they're keeping something from the others, and, like, it's eventually about time that they're going to find out. Did they actually kill the gambler? We don't know. It's literally like, it's a big, like, because the way they shot the scene about, like, who could have killed the gambler. It seemed like maybe it was Frost Jr. or i.e. Cameron. It could have been the Crocs. It could have been Cindy. We don't know. That's the whole point of a murder mystery. Like, we really are going to be left guessing until they flat out say, hey, this was this guy. Let's get him. But anyway, that was the end of this week's episode of Stargirl. I think this still was the best one so far. It definitely paced itself really well. Focusing more, I think, at the core of Starman's, personal trauma and his personal insecurities about everything post his resurrection. And there's just still a lot for him to figure out, and still a lot for him to, like, rediscover himself in this new time period. The murder mystery is actually going pretty slow. If they start giving us flashback pieces to what the gambler's been doing as the way of, like, leading him into the entire season, I would be fine with it. It would be nice, to get that storyline going, but we'll see how it goes. Because, again, the gambler pissed off a lot of people. It literally could be anyone. Could be me. I could be in the show and you won't even know it. But yeah, but overall, everyone's kind of getting the right amount of character development so far in the second episode. I really hope that they give Yolanda some more to do that isn't just blaming Cindy every episode. I really hope if that starts becoming the running trope, I'm like, she deserves better, but, we still have a ton of more episodes to go. We haven't even seen Mr. Bones yet, or that entire organization. We haven't even catched up on the other Green Lantern storyline yet. So there's still a lot they haven't even explored yet, but still, we're going at a really good pace right now. And I can't wait to see where, next episode is going to lead us next. But For me, I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up. I really recommend it. And so let me know in the comments below. What did you think of this week's episode of Stargirl? Let's have that conversation down below. But again, I think this is going to do it for me because my camera keeps shutting in and off for the last 5 minutes. So I feel like this is a good place to end it off. So if you're unaware, this has been Joe from ActionX, from What's on the Tube, reviewing every episode in the 3rd season of DC Stargirl. Jesus Christ, this camera hates me right now. If you want to know what we're doing normally on What's on the Tube, besides our Stargirl episode reviews, we're currently doing High School Musical, the series, season 3 episode reviews each and every week after brand new episodes on the CW. So go check them out there. If you don't care about Stargirl, you're in luck. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode review, or later this week, if that makes any sense. Okay, my camera started to glitch up, so time to wrap up this rigmarole. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX videos. Please ring that bell for notification on our next episode review slide. Please also follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates we may have for either of our channel. And please also ring the bell, or I think I said that before. I apologize. But for all you Stargirls out there, I'll see you all next week for the next episode review. But until then, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out. Oh, yeah, I forgot to wear my mask this week. And my mask was over there. And I was thinking to myself, oh, I should remember the mask. Okay, then now's the time to say goodbye. See you guys.